Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and we'd like to call to order the meeting of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners. We will call on Commissioner Turner to lead us in prayer, and then Commissioner Dodd to lead us with the pledge to the flag.
Let's pray. Father, it is good to be here again, Lord, and we're thankful for a Christmas season to be able to celebrate some time with our family and friends in Rutherford County and in other areas of the country. I just ask that you be with us tonight, Lord, as we honor the people's business. May we represent them in the way that they've intended us to do, and that we honor you with our words, our actions, and our deeds. Again, we're thankful for this season. We're thankful for your son, Jesus, Lord. I ask this in his name. Amen.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer. Here. Commissioner Piercy. Here. Commissioner Jordan. Here. Commissioner P. Here. Commissioner Cook. Here. Commissioner Jernigan. Here. Commissioner Cush. Commissioner Reed. Here. Commissioner Gurley. Here. Commissioner Turner. Here. Commissioner Allen. Here. Commissioner Stevens. Here. Commissioner Johnson. Here. Commissioner Baum. Here. Commissioner Nipper. Here. Commissioner Dodd. Commissioner Phillips, Commissioner McAdoo, Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Gooch, Commissioner Sereno. We have a quorum with 21 present.
Thank you very much. You have received a copy of the minutes of the last meeting, and do we have a motion concerning those minutes? Commissioner Phillips.
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed those minutes. I find them completely in order and move that we dispense with the reading and approve those minutes.
All right, second, Commissioner Cush. Did anyone have any corrections or additions? If not, then all of you in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the first item we have coming up next is a resolution of very rewarding recognition for a young man named Jackson Vaught. And we're going to ask Commissioner Piercy, who is his commissioner in that particular district, to come forward and tell us these great things that have happened in this young man's life.
Very unusual opportunity for me, and I think it's a very unusual opportunity for our county. As far as I know, this award has not been given to anyone in this county, might not even the state. This young man competed against other students from other states, other countries, and come out on top. At this time, I would like to have Jackson Vaught, his father Stan, and mother Terry come up and join us. Now keep in mind, this is all about Jackson Vaught tonight. Jackson Vaught. Only other two people I would love to have been here, of course they can't be here, would have been Jackson's grandmother and grandfather, Melvin and Peggy Vaught. They would have been here very proud. This would have been one event that Peggy wouldn't have had to have drug Melvin to. He would have come proudly on his own. Resolution of recognition for Jackson Vaught, Vanderbilt University 2015 Outstanding Senior. Whereas, congratulations to Jackson Vaught for being Vanderbilt University's 2015 Outstanding Senior, and whereas Jackson, as an Oakland High graduate, is the son of Stan and Terry Vaught of Milton Community and is well known in the Rutherford County for running a pumpkin patch along with his brother for 10 years in Milton. And whereas Jackson is a double major in political science and human organizational development with minors in French and corporate strategy. As whereas, in addition to his studies, Jackson is a VC Scepter, a Commons RA, the Vice President of the Vanderbilt Programming Board, the Speaker of the VSG Senate, and a brother in the Delta Chi Delta fraternity. And whereas Jackson plans on entering the financial service and consulting industry with the long-term goal of doing work in international development across the globe. And whereas we commend Jackson for his dedication and commitment and wish him the best in all his future endeavors. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that we extend this resolution of recognition to Jackson Vault for being named Vanderbilt University 2015 Outstanding Senior. Resolved this 17th day of December 2015. I'd like for y'all to give Jackson a round of applause for his accomplishments. Could I have a motion for this?
Second, Commissioner Jordan and others.
Something else I would like to say about this. This shows a lot for the Rutherford County education system. For a student to start out at Lascassas Grammar School, attend the McFadden School facility, and be a graduate of Oakland High School, and move on to the university class, I feel like he has done excellent in exerting his ability to stay focused and set his goals and reach where he wants to be. Jackson, I'm proud of you, and I'm glad to be your commissioner. Thank you. Would you like to say anything?
Thank you all very, very much. I certainly was not expecting this when I found this out about 3 weeks ago. I credit a lot of my success at Vanderbilt to being a product of public education in Rutherford County. As Commissioner Piercy said, I started out at Lascassas Elementary School for kindergarten and first grade, then moved on to the McFadden School of Excellence through my 8th grade year, and then did the IB program at Oakland High School. And I can honestly say that I would not be where I am without those 3 institutions. So thank you guys for all the work you do regarding education in this county.
Thank you.
Okay, to make this really official, all of you in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Okay, I knew that was the case, but we have to do our duty sometimes. Okay, next, it is time for public comments, and tonight we have a couple that would like to speak to us, and we're going to allow Mr. Pettis Reed to come forward, and since there's only one here, and he can sort of introduce these folks, Doug and Kay Mitchell. So, Mr. Reed, would you come forward and invite our guest up here so you can allow them to speak to us and tell us some of the great things they're really doing?
You know, I'm going to ask you to come forward at this time, and I believe you got some with you, Doug and Kay. I'll let you bring that whole group up here with you if you could. When I was seeking the commission job out in Midland, I kept going by the old Midland School out there across from Midland Baptist Church. And especially on Thursdays and Fridays, there'd be a huge crowd there, and I just wondered what in the world was going on there. And finally, I checked it out and stopped there, and Journey of Hope was going on there. And I don't know if any of you know that much about Journey of Hope, but you know, you hear me talking about the diamond on the western side of my district out there. This is the pearl on the southern part of my district out there. But Journey of Hope is sort of a product of these 2 individuals we just talked about here, the Mitchells, with volunteers from several churches out there in Midland Baptist Church. And you know, we're right now in that part of the season where we're talking about a wonderful spirit that we have and what we have here as far as hope. Well, you're looking at an organization that's out there in Midland that feeds anywhere from 500 to 700 families each week. And they do it all by volunteers. And the thing that caught my attention, especially this year, on Good Friday weekend, their whole facility out there was totally destroyed by 3 vandals who were trying to stop what was going on there. But you know, on that Sunday afternoon, over 60 volunteers were in there putting it all back together. And this community was all involved in trying to get it going back. And by Thursday, they were back giving food to people. And they're feeding over 2,000 people each week in this county that nobody ever hears about. And this is something that I wanted to bring before this commission, that bring before Rutherford County, that we have going on out there. This is a good work, a good possibility, and I wanted the Mitchells to tell you just a little bit of how they do it and what's being done. Doug? Let you step
yeah.
right up here.
It's all the volunteers, guys. It's not one individual. It's way beyond a Midland Baptist Church thing. It is a God thing. We feed anywhere from 500 to 600 families each week, which makes us probably one of the largest food ministries. We didn't know this, but the statistics from Second Harvest came down and told us this, that we were one of the largest, if not the largest food ministry in the state of Tennessee. Once again, it all started 7 years ago. This January the 9th will be 7 years that this ministry has been started. And it all started from Dean Cantrell. And I don't know how many of you guys might know Brother Dean Cantrell. If you've been in our community for very long, you know Brother Dean Cantrell. He's the Ten Commandments guy. And he would give the Ten Commandments. There's one in the courthouse downstairs, probably is one that Brother Dean Cantrell gave to the courthouse here. But anyway, he was sick, and he had a bread ministry, and he got sick, and he asked us to pick his bread up for him. Well, he died on January the 9th of 2009. The Journey of Hope got started January 9th, 2009. We picked his bread up for him, and we did not know what to do with it. He went into some housing complexes here in Murfreesboro and in Bedford County that the police didn't go in unless they had backup. But people respected him, and he fed a lot of folks. Well, we picked the bread up. That first Saturday, it was very cold, and the people came in. Well, we was hoping people would come in, and one of our church members come in, and she says, of course, what she did was said, "Abby, would you like some bread?" And she said, "Yes, I could use some. It's a bad winter, and the electric bills is high." And then we said, "What about your neighbors?" And so she started calling neighbors, and next thing we know, we'd given away all the bread that day, okay? We told them, "Come back next week. We don't know what to do with this stuff." But as the Lord showed us the directions to go in this food ministry, each week we received more bread. Finally, we had bread that we didn't have enough. How many of you guys has ever worked somewhere for 30 years and you really didn't understand the reason why you was there? Well, I worked for a major bread company in this area, and I went and talked with them and said, "This is what we got. Don't know how long it's going to last." But they said, "Yeah, come get the old bread, the stale bread." And from that point on, each Sunday we would have to redo our whole church because we was giving away bread and had the ministry. The old Midland Schoolhouse, this is how God works. It's right in front of our church. We got in touch with the fellow that owns it. He was gracious enough to let us use it. And from that point on, this is how the ministry's gone. Guys, last year we can document over 3.5 million pounds of food that's gone through that building. Anytime that we have more food than what we can handle, we call other ministries in Murfreesboro and in Bedford County. Guys, y'all come. We got potatoes. We got sweet potatoes. We got carrots, whatever. And so we share. We co-op with all the other folks. I'm going to back away because there's so many good volunteers here. I know that Deb has got something that she wants to say. And I want to let as many, because it's not about any one of us. Last week, guys, no, it was 4 weeks ago, we had 10 different churches, 7 different denominations, all working together. I tell them all the time, guys, when we get to heaven, there's not a little spot here, a little spot there, a little spot there. We're all going to be together, and we work really good together. And it's a joy to be there and be a part of a ministry that God's got his hand upon. If I can give this, Mr. Pettis, can I give up for just a second to Miss Deb right here? Come up here, Deb. And she's a volunteer and has been for several years there.
I don't know what else to say now. You guys done took my speech from me. But Journey of Hope is, it's a blessing. It really is. All of us work hard. We do. We all work hard. We're there, and we enjoy helping people. It's a blessing in disguise. When we needed something, God give it to us. We got our freezer that we needed from Food Line, they helped us. Our charity, our fundraiser that we had, they helped. We got our walk-in refrigerators that we needed, and we got our volunteers, like they said, when we were broke into, we got our volunteers to come. Yep, I mean, if it weren't for the volunteers and for the community helping us, you know, Feed the Children, Second Harvest, Walmart Distribution, you know, without them, we wouldn't have what we got. But thank you, everybody.
We thank you for being here this evening, and thank you for what you do, and appreciate it. And we just wanted to bring this story to you with the help of Captain Steve Spence that brought this story to us too, and he helps there too and gets the things done. And we just wanted to let you know this is a project that's happening there that's feeding a lot of people, and there's not government involved in it. And this is all being done by the community. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Commissioner Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. This is kind of hard for me to say, but at the Tuesday night's steering committee meeting, especially the meeting with our legislators, I raised my voice in anger, and I apologized if I embarrassed this commission in any way. I probably said some things that I shouldn't have, and before this group, if I did embarrass any of you, I offer my humble apologies and ask for your forgiveness. Representative Sparks made a statement about our development tax. I disagreed with him and said that our development tax had never been increased when in fact it had. And I'd really forgotten about it. I was on this commission when it was first implemented. It was presented by, which was then Commissioner Ketron instead of Senator Ketron. And then a few years later, I was not on this commission, and it was raised to the current amount. I think it's $1,500, and I think that was in like 1999, if I'm not mistaken. So I was wrong saying that it had never been raised, and which it has, and I apologize to Representative Sparks for making that statement in error.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Phillips. Okay, next we'll call on Commissioner Turner for elections and confirmations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could, Commissioner Phillips, it's certainly within line to apologize when we think we've erred, but don't ever apologize for your passion, because I think it was very well received by this body and by the general public. And so I thank you for your passion and your leadership and on the steering committee and on the commission as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, if you'll look on your iPad, we have a list of notaries that we need to approve. One slight change that Rick Spence provided to me. Ann Rowland came in at the deadline, correct, Rick, on the 12th, but was not listed on your iPad. So if we could just make a change to add Ann Rowland, and Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion with her addition to that list that we approve the list of notaries as submitted.
Okay, do we have a second? Commissioner Kush? All right, any other discussion? If not, all in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye. We also need to fill vacancies on the Agriculture Advisory Board for a farm woman, farmer, and 2 commissioners. Steering would like to nominate Phyllis Ferguson, Colin Miller, and I did not see who the other 2 commissioners were. Does someone from Steering have that or remember off the top of their head?
Commissioner Jordan and Commissioner P.
And Commissioner P. And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for their approval. Thank you.
All right, and we have a second from Commissioner Sereno. Any questions or discussions? And all right, all in favor of that then, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Thank you very much.
At this time, we need to fill 2 vacancies on the Community Care Board of Directors. Steering would like to submit the names of Kay Jerniman and Doug Bodery. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
Second, Commissioner Johnson and Ms. Cook. Any discussion? Otherwise, all of you in favor of that, then please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
At this time, we need to fill the county general employee vacancy on the insurance committee. Steering would like to submit the name and nominate Shante Sherrill. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for her approval.
And a second from Commissioner McAdoo. Any other discussion? All in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
We need to fill 2 vacancies on the Correctional Work Center Board of Directors. Steering would submit the names of Mr. Bob Asbury and Ms. Frances Mosby. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
Second by Commissioner McAdoo and Mr. Nipper. Any further discussion? If not, all of you in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
We need to fill 2 vacancies on the Public Building Authority. Steering would like to submit the names of Dow Smith and Leslie Smith Jr. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
And a second from Commissioner Kush. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
We'd also like to announce the vacancy on the Linebaugh Library Board to be filled by female from the Eagleville area to fill the unexpired term of Carrie Sostrom, and that term will expire in June of 2017. Steering would like to announce 2 vacancies on the Conservation Board, and Steering would also like to announce the vacancy on the Public Building Authority to fill the unexpired term of Scott Porterfield, and that term would expire in January of 2020. And that is our report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Turner. We don't have any unfinished business tonight, and let's see there. I skipped right over something else that's more important. Resolution to approve the consent agenda. I recognize Commissioner Phillips, please.
Mayor Burgess, I've also reviewed that, find everything that's listed on that consent agenda appropriate, and move that it be adopted unless there's any commissioner that wishes to remove any item and place it on the regular agenda.
Do we have a second? Second, Commissioner Jordan. Does anyone have any item they'd like to have removed? All right, there not being any items you choose to remove, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, 0 no. Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, now we will have a few moments here to start on our reports by standing committees, I believe. So we'll call on Commissioner Jordan. For our Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Off with item L1A, resolution authorizing funding for construction of judicial center and parking garage. This is a little thing, it's not a very big deal, you know. This might be the biggest, I believe Ms. Nolan told me that we think this is the biggest project the county's ever undertaken by itself. So this has been 20 years in the works. Resolution where the planning and design of the judicial building, judicial center, and parking garage projects at the intersection of North Maple Street and Lytle Street were previously funded for the total of amount of $5 million, and whereas the planning and design phase of the projects is nearing completion, and the estimated construction cost of the project will require an additional $68 million for a total cost of $73 million. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that $68 million be allocated from future bond issues for the construction of the Judicial Center and Parking Garage projects. Resolved this 17th day of December 2015. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Commissioner McAdoo, a second. Any discussion or questions regarding this? Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering if you could explain to me, and I'm sorry, I could not make the Budget Committee meeting the other night. I had a prior commitment. Is this money going to be borrowed all at one time, or will it be broken down in installments?
We can let Mrs. Nolan address this, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to borrow it all at one time. Ms. Nolan, do you have a comment on that?
Are you there? Okay. At this moment, the thought is to probably do it in 2 emissions. Once we get the information from the school boards, understanding what projects you will be approving for them, then we'll start structuring the best method.
So it's a 2-year project, and we won't need all the money up front, but we'll just have to
But you'll need it within 24 months. I mean, the expectation is once it starts, in 24 months, the money will be spent down.
If I know that we're going to be borrowing over 2 years, I'm fine with voting for this resolution. But the way it's worded, it makes it sound like also that it could be borrowed all at once.
Well, what we're asking is that you approve the project. And then the next resolution is to approve the funding of the project.
Next resolution is the funding actually, and I think we want to have the flexibility to wait on advice from bond counsel depending on the market. If it is advantageous and the idea that interest rates are going to go up, we're going to have the flexibility to do what counsel advises on whether we borrow it all now or stretch it over 2 terms. There is cost of issuance of a bond. You've got a lot of factors in there, but that's the next item on the agenda.
Well, I'm all for the project and I want to vote for this, but if I vote for this the way it's worded, and we end up borrowing off $68 million and have to build a school, that's a pretty sizable tax increase to fund the debt service.
Well, the wording of the resolution is flexible enough. It says from future bond issues, plural. So it gives us the flexibility for you to choose exactly how that's done.
If we go to bond market, it'll come back to the commission anyway.
So we
Well-
will be voting again before we actually borrow the money.
Okay, if you don't mind, this resolution is to approve the project. The next resolution is the initial resolution to borrow the money. What happens, the full amount, because you don't want to go through and say, we're only going to fund half the project and get into the project, and then a commission doesn't approve all of it. So you will be asked to approve a resolution for the full funding. Now, this initial one will be published in the paper for a 20-day period for the public to respond to. Next meeting in January will bring the final resolution. In the wording, we'll say in one or more emissions, meaning we can do it all at once or in separate,
But we will
different
see,
borrowing.
we will see it again and
You'll
we'll
see
get to vote
that
on
in
that.
January.
Okay.
You'll see the final resolution in January, and by then the 20 days should be transpired.
Okay.
Commissioner Gurley.
Yes, you know, cost overruns are a big thing. We're approving $68 million for a project, assuming it passes tonight. Do we have any assurance that this is going to be the end of it? That we're not going to wind up coming back next year and needing $3 million more?
We have, in this 68 million, there is, I'm trying to get to my number. There is $1.3 million of owner contingency that's not yet spent, that we'll have as the county for various things and needs that we may have there, plus another, I believe, $5 million in other contingencies, inflation and other things that may not have been precisely identified at this moment in time.
So those contingencies are included in
They're
the
included
68?
in the $68 million, yes, sir. $6 million, I believe, or thereabouts.
There was a very in-depth presentation to property management. They concised it a little bit for budget. Made me have a great bit of comfort with it. Other budget members and property management members, but people on either one of those committees have not seen that presentation. But there are a lot of safeguards and different options to take things out. Money comes in better than we expect to finish things out and stuff. So there's been a lot of forethought into that exact question. Of course, there are no 100% guarantees on anything.
Okay, other questions? All right. So since this is approving the funding of this, I think we're going to have to take a roll call vote. We should. So if there are no other discussions, no other questions, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
All right, record the
Be
votes, please.
continued.
21 yes, motion passes.
Okay, now we come to our time of public hearings at 6:30. So we're going to stop the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee report and go to that public hearing agenda item. And the first rezoning request we have is 15-A014. The requester is Mr. Scott Graby, and this is regarding a project located at 4925 Veterans Parkway. The existing zoning is residential medium density, and the proposed zoning is commercial services on a site of approximately 10 acres. So, Mr. DeMosi, would you please give us further information?
Yes, Mayor Burgess, thank you, and good evening, Mayor and members of the Commission. The applicant operates a property maintenance company from the property that was approved originally by the Board of Zoning Appeals back in 1989. An amendment to this original conditional use permit was issued back in 1999 to allow the applicant to expand the business. Copies of both of those documents are included with your agenda packets. County zoning enforcement officials received a complaint regarding a recent addition made to one of the applicant's buildings. After discussing the situation with our building codes director, it was determined that the buildings and any subsequent additions would need site plan approval. The applicant discussed the situation also with planning and engineering staff, where it was agreed that at this point the business had expanded to the point where it needed, or rather it would be more appropriate to have a commercial zone for that property. From the applicant's materials, again, included with your application and agenda materials, you can see there's an aerial photo in there as well. There's a number of structures and vehicles on the property. Their hours of operation are generally 8 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon, early evening, Monday through Friday. They do also have sweeper trucks that leave the site around 8:30 p.m. and return to the property between 6 and 7 a.m. They have about 35 to 40 employees, 6 of which employed actually on the property in the office and 1 in the shop. The property is used for the operation of the business, storage of vehicles, maintenance, storage of supplies, and administrative activities. The applicant does live on the property and will continue to do so. There wasn't a large amount of discussion on this at the Planning Commission. There were some questions to the applicant. There was one person who spoke from the adjacent Royal Glen subdivision who had concerns with some of the screening and the noise issues from the property, as well as some drainage, as the drainage turns out to be from an adjacent property. The Planning Commission felt actually, though, that and staff agrees, that the property being zoned for commercial purposes with the commercial services zone would give the county more control over site plan approval, screening, noise, and other items. They also have asked staff to look into the drainage that the person who spoke at the public hearing had inquired about, which our engineering staff is in the process of doing. Ultimately, the Planning Commission did recommend approval by a unanimous vote. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, does anyone have any questions of Mr. DeMosi? Okay, thank you then. So we will declare the public hearing open. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this particular request, it's your opportunity to come forward and make your comments to us. So any of you that would like to speak regarding this request, please come forward. All right, we see no one rising and coming forward. Therefore, we're going to declare the public hearing closed. And do we have a motion concerning this proposal? Mr. Gooch.
Motion to approve with staff comments, Mr. Chair.
Second, Mr. Cooch. Any other discussion or questions? If not, then all of you in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Next, we have a request from our planning staff on an amendment to section 1103C.3.E of the Rutherford County zoning ordinance concerning setbacks for mini warehouse developments. Mr. DeMosi.
Yes, Mayor Burgess, thank you again. Happy to bring these amendments to you tonight. The Planning Commission instructed staff to investigate the possibility of amending our standards for mini warehouse developments in the unincorporated areas of Rutherford County. I'm going to give you a brief overview of our analysis, and if you have questions, I'll be happy to take them at that point. The prior zoning resolution that was in effect prior to 2013 did not contain any specific regulations on mini warehouse developments, with the exception of the definition of those type facilities, which stated that no sales, service, or repair activities other than rental of dead storage units were permitted. General standards for all developments were applied to these uses. Historically, they were considered Type 2 conditional use permits and were approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals. When we adopted the new ordinance effective January 1st of 2013, there were standards that were added at that time. There were a number of them. They are allowed by special exception, which is really the same thing as a conditional use permit. They're allowed in several of the different zones, office professional, the commercial zones, and also the special character areas by special exception, and in the heavy and light industrial zones by right. I won't go through all of the different regulations that were put in place at that point for these type of facilities, except I'll go into a little more detail of one of them in your packets there. It's item E, the setback for any such activity shall be a minimum of 65 feet. Planning and Engineering Department has received 4 different applications for mini warehouse development since these new regulations were implemented. We have received since that point several concerns regarding that setback. One of the primary concerns raised is that with such a large setback, as opposed to the normal setbacks of the district, which are generally 15 or 20 feet, can make site design a challenge. We have approved many warehouse developments in the past where the buildings themselves were actually used as part of the screening of the property. The backs of the units didn't have any access and were more of a decorative wall, if you will, and they were able to use that as part of their screening. However, with a 65-foot minimum setback, that really makes that situation impractical. So one of the things we did was compared our regulations with several of surrounding municipalities and counties. There's a chart there. I won't go into just a whole lot of detail, but just a quick summary. A majority of those surveyed required no additional setbacks other than what was required in that zoning district. Franklin and Williamson counties were a little different. They did have greater setback requirements, but if certain screening requirements were met, then that setback could be reduced. Lebanon and Laverne were the only ones that had larger setbacks, especially on the fronts, that could not be altered with buffering. After reviewing those municipalities and counties, we came up with 3 different options to the Planning Commission. One would be just to leave it as is. One would be to remove the requirement, and a third would be to amend the requirement, which was similar to what Franklin and Williamson County had done. There was a lot of discussion about this. This was something that was going on for a number of meetings. Most of the discussions concerned the options 1, which was remove the setback, or option 2, which was amend it. Ultimately, after much discussion, the decision was made to change some of the wording in the condition to alter it, and you'll see that on the last page there of that report. The setback for such activities, which would be buildings or outdoor storage, shall be a minimum of 65 feet, provided if there is access on only one side of the building, the setbacks of the district can apply. In other words, they could back that building up, use that wall, again, for part of the screen. We also put a little bit of verbiage in there regarding the design and appearance being approved by either the Board of Zoning Appeals or Planning Commission, whichever board it would come to for ultimate approval. And the screening and landscape requirements would still be consistent with Section 1104, which deals with landscaping. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. I know it's a lot of information to throw at you. I hope I was clear and concise with it.
Are there any questions of Mr. Demosi? Okay, then, thank you. And we will now declare then the public hearing open with respect to the amendment to the Rutherford County zoning ordinance concerning setbacks for many warehouse developments. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this amendment, now is your opportunity to come forward. Please do so if you so wish. All right, we don't have anyone choosing to come forward, so the public hearing is closed. Do we have a motion? And that was a second from Commissioner Phillips, excuse me. All right, any further discussion? Then, all of you in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? The motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. Demosi. Now we will resume our reports from the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee.
Item L1B, initial resolution authorizing $68.9 million general obligation bonds. Be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Rutherford County, Tennessee, that for the purpose of providing funds for the design, site development, constructing, and equipping of a public parking facility, design, site development, constructing, and equipping of a county justice center, renovation, repair, and equipping of county fine print here, county buildings, design, site development, constructing, and equipping of a facility for the solid waste department, design, site development, constructing, and equipping of county maintenance facility, design, site development, constructing, repairing, and improving streets, roads, bridges, including joint projects with the city of Murfreesboro, payment of legal, fiscal, administrative, architectural, and engineering costs, incident to any of the foregoing, acquisition of all property, real and personal, related to the foregoing, reimbursement of the appropriate fund for the county for prior expenditures for the foregoing cost, if applicable, and payment of costs incident of the issuance and sale of the bonds authorized herein. There shall be issued bonds in one or more series of the county in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $68,900,000, which shall bear interest at a rate or rates not to exceed the maximum rate permitted by the applicable Tennessee law at the time of issuance for the bonds of any series thereon, and which shall be payable from unlimited ad valorem taxes to be levied on all taxable property within the county. Be it further resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Rutherford County, Tennessee, that the county clerk be and is hereby directed and instructed to cause the foregoing initial resolution relative to the issuance of not to exceed $68,900,000 general obligation bonds to be published in full in a newspaper having a general circulation in the Rutherford County in the county for one issue of said paper, followed by the statutory notice to wit. Thereupon the county mayor declared and resolution to have been duly and regularly adopted, and said resolution was signed by the county mayor and clerk in open meeting. Am I reading the right thing?
Yep, that's it. That's what
This
you want
doesn't
to
sound like something I'm supposed to be reading, but, yeah. Resolved this 17th day of December 2015, Mr. Chairman, I so move. This isn't one of my regular resolutions.
Mr.
I will explain
McAdoo.
that we have to put everything in the world in there in case there's any money left over or any money has to go into other funds at the end of the thing. That's all legal stuff.
Commissioner McAdoo seconded the motion, and what Mr. Jordan is telling us, all of this he read is any number of things that are not the judicial building, but just in the event some of these monies are left, we want the ability to use them for other constructive purposes that we likely will need at some point.
Put a catch-all in there.
All right, so we have that motion and second on the floor. Further discussion or questions? All right then, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Okay, record the votes.
20 yes, 1 abstain, motion passes.
All right, thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's maybe a time for celebration, I hope. I don't know. But some of you have been working on this literally since before 2000. So it's a, who wants to speak there? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Joe Frank Jernigan, you, 21 yes, so let's make this unanimous. Let this be a record-setting night for Rutherford County. Thank you very much.
I should have left it alone, Joe. I don't know. We've got one more, Resolution C, that didn't make it through the Insurance Committee or budget. So we've changed vendors at the, you explain what.
Yeah, we need a motion to suspend the
We've got to have a
rules
motion
to
to
add
suspend the
this.
rules to consider this. We've got to advance some funds for the flexible spending account.
So we
because
need a-
we've changed vendors, and it happened since the
Need a motion
insurance
to
committee.
suspend the rules and allow this to be added to the agenda, L.1.C. Mr. Gooch, Chairperson of Steering, makes that motion. Second from Mr. Gurley to amend our agenda here tonight. All of you in favor of that, then please say aye. Aye. All right, any opposed? Thank you. Now you may go into the resolution.
Right. Item L1C is a resolution to advance funding for employee insurance to flexible spending account. Whereas the third-party administrator of Fund 334 flexible spending account requires the pre-fund of an amount equal to 4% of the estimated benefit claims for the planned year of approximately $50,700.
to ensure available funds for the payment of claims from the first day of the plan, and secondly, employee deductions are collected over the plan year, but reimbursed medical claims can be filed at the beginning of the plan year, all of which could potentially cause a cash flow shortage. Whereas it has also been proposed that an advance of $75,000 be made from Funds 264 Employee Insurance Fund to Fund 334 Flexible Spending Account in order to make payments for reimbursed medical and dependent care claims until employee deductions are collected. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that an advance in the amount of $75,000 be authorized from Fund 264 Employee Insurance Fund to Fund 334 Flexible Spending Account in order to make payments for unreimbursed medical and dependent care claims until employee deductions are collected. Resolved the 17th day of December 2015. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second, Commissioner Schaefer. Now, any questions about that? All right, if there are no questions, good. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Okay, record the votes, please.
21 yes, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Now, we will continue with our reports from standing committees. Health and Education Committee, there is no report. Property Management Committee, no report. Public Safety Committee, no report, or no report from Public Works either. We have two items from Steering Legislative and Governmental Committee. Mr. Gooch, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Steering does have two resolutions for your consideration tonight, Commissioners. The first one is concerning the Board of Zoning Appeals. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated 137106 and Tennessee Annotated 137205 establish the number of members of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and whereas Rutherford County desires amendment to TCA 137106A by deleting "or 5 members" in the first sentence and substituting the language 5, 7, or 9 members, and amend TCA 137205A1 by deleting the language "or 5 members" in the first sentence and substituting instead the language 5, 7, or 9 members. Be it further resolved by the county clerk properly transmit a certificate copy of this resolution to the Tennessee General Assembly for appropriate action. Resolve this the 17th day of December 2015. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second, Commissioner Gurley. Any further discussion on this? If not, then all of you in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
And as a result of our lively and energetic discussion Tuesday night, we do have another resolution that was submitted to steering by Commissioner Robert Stevens. And this will help, hopefully, fund our judicial center in some way. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated 674601 provides authority for counties to levy a local litigation tax, the proceeds of which shall be used exclusively for the purposes of jail or workhouse construction, reconstruction, or upgrading, or to retire debt, including principal and interest and related expenses on such construction, reconstruction, or upgrading, or for courthouse renovation. And whereas Tennessee Code Annotated 674601B5 allows counties within the listed population classification to levy a privilege tax on litigation in all civil and criminal cases in an amount not to exceed $25 per case. And whereas Rutherford County has expended substantial sums and will continue to expend substantial sums for the purpose of jail or workhouse construction, reconstruction, or upgrading and retiring debt on the same, and also for courthouse renovation. And whereas local litigation tax currently in effect in Rutherford County is insufficient to fund those projects, now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the Tennessee General Assembly amend TCA 674601B5 to add a new population classification that would reference only the population of Rutherford County to the current population classification currently listed therein to enable Rutherford County to assess up to an additional $25 per civil and criminal case if adopted by the County Commission by a 2/3 majority as a user fee to be used for jail construction and maintenance, workhouse construction and maintenance, juvenile detention center construction and maintenance, or courthouse construction and maintenance, and retiring debt on the same. Be it further resolved, the county clerk properly transmit a certified copy of this resolution to the Tennessee General Assembly for the appropriate action. Resolve this the 17th day of December, 2015. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Do we have a second? Second, Mr. Cush and Stevens there. All right. Discussion, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to briefly explain what this is and how it came about. So we're about to fund this $68 million project, and we really have two options on how we can pay for that. We can pass the cost on to all the taxpayers in the county through property taxes, or the people who are coming through the door of the courthouse can help us fund the building. So to me, it makes more sense that the people who are actually using the system be the ones that shoulder the cost for that. So if you go file a lawsuit in the judicial building, currently $25 of your filing fee is used for courthouse construction, jail construction, maintenance, etc. I'm not sure how long that $25 cap has been in place, but jail construction and courthouse construction costs a lot more than $25 a case now, at least in our county with the growth we've had. So what we're asking the state to do is increase the amount that we can charge on that filing fee from $25 up to $50 if 2/3 of us agree to do that. And that extra $25 on every case, which by the way there are thousands and thousands and thousands of cases every year, would provide a substantial source of revenue to help us fund these bonds for the judicial building. So again, what this is a product of some of us were looking as a ways to sharpen our axe and find ways to avoid passing the costs on to property taxpayers when we could simply make those who are using the system help us to fund it. I think that's a very reasonable idea, and that's where the idea actually came from a constituent who asked us to look at who is paying the fees over there. It made perfect sense, and that's why I brought it forward. So I hope that everybody supports that tonight. I hope you'll contact our legislators and make sure that they're on board with this and explain to them if there's two options. We can do it this way and help defray the cost, or all the costs can be put on all their constituents, even those who aren't using the system. You know, I'm concerned about seniors and poor working families and people like that, and I don't feel like they should be paying the cost for something that they're not using if they're not filing court cases or criminals in criminal cases. So I would ask that you all support that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stevens. Anyone else? Commissioner P.?
Yeah, I had this question the other night, and I don't feel like I got a really good answer, so I'll ask Commissioner Stevens, since he's an attorney also, to answer this. I don't have a problem, and I support what he's doing as far as anybody that's bringing a lawsuit. I mean, if you're instigating it and you're going to court, a user fee seems right to me. You know, I'm not involved in that. I just soon not have to pay for you having a extra courtroom because you want to go sue somebody. My question, however, is, and I've spoke to some of the judges in the past about this, is we've got people that are not bringing the lawsuits to them. They're criminally charged. The people that are criminally charged, and let's just throw one other caveat in there, that they're indigent. Tell me how that gets paid, Robert.
Well, this is for all civil and criminal cases. It would be applied to them universally. Now, if there's a question about these people being indigent, that is a choice that only the judge can make. They can request to be declared and determined indigent. The judge can so agree with that, and they wouldn't have to pay the fines, the fees. Is that correct, Mr. Cope?
That's correct.
But that's the only way they would be determined to be indigent. And that does happen with some frequency. Mr. Schaefer.
Just a quick question. One is, well, there's two parts. But can the judge take a paycheck of theirs and, what's the word I'm looking for? Garnish their paycheck on that Does he have that right in this?
We'll ask Mr. Cope if he can help us. I don't know.
A judge doesn't issue a garnishment. There would have to be a collection process brought, and typically that would be something that the clerk would try to pursue in the method of collecting the fee.
That include a welfare check also?
I don't know the specifics of what monies would be available. It would be my inclination if someone's drawing welfare that they're indigent, but I suppose there are people who may be drawing welfare who might have other resources than that. That would have to be on a case-by-case basis, I suspect.
My next question is I assume it would double whatever we're going to get this fiscal year, roughly, since we're increasing.
Nolan has that number. If she can retrieve it quickly, I'm not sure, but she's looking.
Last year, that tax brought in almost $644,000.
Other questions? Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. I understand some of the hesitation in doing this, but really, it's a user fee, and I think even the resolution says that. And it wouldn't change anything from the way it's being done right now, correct? Not anything. If a judge says a person can't pay $25, they probably don't have to pay it. So it'd be the same thing, just a higher amount, right? So it really doesn't change anything, but just increases that a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. It wouldn't change the way we look at people that cannot afford to pay it. It would be implemented the exact same way. Is that correct?
Correct. Anything further?
And exactly how is that, Jim?
When you say how is that, what are you referring to, Commissioner?
Talking about that fee that we're asking them to collect, if a person says he cannot pay that, and the judge turns around and says, okay, you're indigent, you don't have to pay that, and there's no other consequences.
No, there shouldn't be. I mean, if a person's declared indigent and the judge waives the fee, he'll be basically issuing an order that the fee's not due and payable. It'll be that judge's decision.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to make clear for the people watching tonight that we are not voting to increase this user fee tonight. We're simply asking the state for permission to do that at a future date if we so choose. Right now, we're capped on what we can charge the people filing lawsuits and the people involved in criminal cases. We're just simply asking if that amount could be raised if this body so chooses. We're just trying to add another tool to our toolbox, as Mayor Burgess says.
All right, thank you then. All right, there's not appearing to be any further discussion needed here. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change their vote, they may do so now.
Record the votes, please. Yeah, he's already voted. Everyone has voted. Oh, he wants to abstain? He's not, he has voted. I don't know how he voted, but he has voted. Now he can vote. All right, are we ready to record the votes then, Mr. Jernigan? All right then, record the votes, please.
21 yes, motion passes.
Motion is passed unanimously. All right, Mr. Gooch.
Just one more comment. Tuesday night, in no way, form, or fashion did the mayor or any county commissioner embarrass this body. I can assure you that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gooch. Any other business? Mr. Kush, I believe you had some other business.
If you don't mind, I'll step up to the lectern, give you all a chance to see the
How about that? A couple of things. This is the end of the year, so I've struggled. This is my first full year as commissioner. I've struggled to try and figure out how to communicate better with my constituents. I came up with an idea that was called Commissioner's Corner, which was a list of some items that were pertinent to District 7 that I submitted to the two papers. Our reporters thought it was a good idea, but it never made the print. So strike that. So I thought, since this is the end of the year, I would just give a quick highlight on some things that are happening in District 7 to all my lovely constituents. This won't take long. First of all, the Veterans Parkway, which is on its final leg of construction, from basically Cason Lane to the Stones River Bridge west on Barfield, is just about near completion. They will not be able to do final topping until spring of next year when the asphalt plants reopen, but we're really close on getting that horrible nightmare of traffic congestion on Veterans open. So keep that on your radar for early spring to have that complete. I am fighting for a traffic light on Barfield Road and Veterans. We all know that that is easily backs up on Barfield, and people really have to take a chance and gun it to get and merge onto Veterans. The last traffic count said we did not warrant a light, but I am asking that after Veterans is open in spring, that they go back and take another road count in hopes to get a new light at that intersection. We had this discussion a little bit about Highway 99 on Tuesday. Let me tell you my personal opinion. And Pettis has interest in this too, because Highway 99 is certainly the gateway right through District 7, but it's also the main artery into his district as well. That's not going to happen anytime soon. I'll tell you, it's going to be at least a couple of years, and here's why. Although it is a fast-track project, as recognized by TDOT, shovel-ready, there is not money in TDOT funds for that project. Although we just passed, we being Washington, finally passed a sustainable highway bill, that bill really is only going to add about 2% of spending power to the state of Tennessee for projects. Rutherford County is about $256 million behind in road projects. Highway 99 is one of them. Your project's one of them. There's a lot of projects, yeah. So we're trying to get 99 resurrected again. So, but for those constituents of District 7, it's going to be a couple of years, my bet.
I believe you're being a bit too much optimistic there, Mr. Kush.
Well, I'd like to be optimistic.
I mean,
I'm a doer. I'm trying to get it done.
This would be a miracle.
Yes.
All right, 2 years.
But miracles, it's Christmas. Miracles do happen, Mr. Chairman. In red pants, that's right. Rucker Lane, I've had a lot of questions about when are they going to widen Rucker Lane. Now, that's going to be a lot longer than 2 years. That's not on the city's radar. It is not on their construction plan going forward for the next 4 or 5 years. So although there is incredible amount of homes being built off Rucker Lane, be careful. It's going to stay like it is for some time. The signal at Church Street and I-24 got turned on today. If you all know that, when you're coming off 24 to get on 231 heading towards Shelbyville or Riverdale High School, you know the big truck stop immediately on the left. You know how much danger there is of those semi-tractor trailers trying to immediately merge 3 traffic lanes to get to that truck stop. There's a brand new light there. This is actually not in my district, but it affects my constituents. So that light has been activated. There are 3 dedicated lines coming off I-24 now. So you pick which way you want to go. You're going right to Riverdale, you're going straight to Shelbyville, you're going left to the truck stop. So that is going to help the safety of that intersection tremendously. So thank you all for that. Greenway. I see a lot of my commissioner friends on the Greenway. The one that is currently dead-ending on Barfield Road is going to be bid the spring of 2016. That will take that Greenway all the way past or down Barfield Road, under Veterans Parkway and to Barfield Park. It will complete that loop. They're combining 2 phases into one, and that's going to bid 2016. So get your bicycles lubed up and get ready to go. Also, Highway 96, Overall Creek and Veterans, that intersection, kind of where that new Kroger's being built, right outside my district. They're going to improve that intersection. So that's coming in 2016 as well. All right, now, that's for District 7. When I ran, one of my little bylines was, I was the voice of District 7, but eyes and ears on the whole county. So I just gave you my voice of District 7. Let me tell you the eyes and ears part. The county is facing some incredible challenges in 2016. We have overcrowding of schools, overcrowding of correction facilities. We have roads that are overcrowded. We have a landfill that, before you know it, is going to be at capacity, which we're going to have to address. We should already be having steps addressed to that, and Chairman McAdoo of our committee is working on that. So there are some big issues coming down the road. I'm passionate about infrastructure. I attended the legislative meeting the other night at Tuesday, and I'll tell you, the 3 representatives from the General Assembly, how do I say this nicely? I want to say they were wrong, but let's say I disagree with their opinion on the gas tax. Here's what they're missing. Tourism in Rutherford County brought in over $300 million this year, which means we have a lot of people coming to our state, our county, that have to buy fuel, right? So why not have a gas, a fuel increase? The trucking industry, you would think the trucking industry would be against a fuel tax increase. It's not a fuel, it's a user fee. User fee. The trucking industry is supporting of the increase. How many tractor trailers, look at Nashville geographically. Look at Rutherford County geographically. Major interstates go right through Nashville every day. Thousands and thousands of tractor trailers not from Tennessee coming through Tennessee, and they have to buy fuel. Let's let somebody else besides Tennesseans help pay for our roads that they're using. So please tell all your legislators, all your folks, because at some point in time in the near future, that's going to come up for a vote. And I want you all to be educated. We need it. It's just one of many things we need to pay for Highway 99 first. Okay. The other thing I want to chat about is how to reach us. We were elected to try and solve problems. And to solve problems, we also need to educate our constituents. Again, I tried to do this little paper piece, Commissioner's Corner, where I could let people know what's going on. So this is the way to do that now. But if you do not know your commissioner, if you do not know what district you live in, it's very simple to find out. And if you do not know how to reach us, there's only one website you have to go to. I got to get my glasses on for this. If you will go to www.rutherfordcountytn.gov, that will take you to our website. And under the government tab on the top left, there is a drop box that talks about commission and committees and boards, and there you will find your district map. It's an active map. You just kind of bring the cursor out where you think you live, and it'll show you what district you're in and who your commissioner is. And then right next to that is a list of all of us. And it'll also give the email address at the county where we can be reached. And I'm proud to say that I checked that. And I'm proud to say that people have questions, and I'm trying to help them. So if you don't know who's representing you, simply go to that website. We would like to hear, I would like to hear, and I'll go ahead and say it, we would all like to hear from our constituents. We have issues in front of us that are going to be challenging in 2016. In just 6 short months, we're going to have to prepare another budget. And we are looking for solutions. And please, if you have any good ideas, send us an email. We want to hear from you, because there's some smart people out there. And you might have the answer. All you got to do is bring it to our attention. And lastly, thank you. Lastly, District 7 has had hundreds of brand-new homes built since have been elected, which means even more voters. And I'm encouraging all these new people that are moving to Rutherford County, particularly in District 7, go register to vote. There is an election coming up early that I know our road superintendent has some very much interest in. So we need you to get out there and get registered to vote and use that right that many died for that cause. So I need you. I want to help you, but I'm going to need your votes too. So get out there and get registered. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have any other business? Wow, okay. Well, listen, thank you very much for a very productive calendar year, and we're still in the middle of this fiscal year, but I do appreciate your support, your cooperation, and speaking for many, many of you and all of us that have worked so hard for so many years on this Judicial Center project, thank you very much, and we very much appreciate your support and your help. We are adjourned. Merry Christmas to everyone here in Rutherford County.